Hey, Ruth. Sorry, but unfortunately I've got some bad news for you today. It's about our anniversary this year. I know we've got less than a month until the big day, but it's just that I'm sorry about this. But can I ask us to put a rain check on that day?
Oh, Alf, what's up all of a sudden? Must be something really important to make you need to skip our anniversary date. You realize we've booked an outside seat at that riverside French restaurant we've wanted to go to for ages? Are we going to have to cancel that one?
Yeah, actually, I've got a really sudden business trip I need to go on at the end of the month. Colin really stressed how important this conference trip is for the team and the project. Heck, even the whole company. He pointed out it could be a big stepping stone for my next promotion and pay rise as well. So I really couldn't bring myself to refuse after being told all that and his desperate begging. Unfortunately, this work trip will clash with our anniversary dinner. So the restaurant and our date plans are going to have to be cancelled, I'm afraid.
What? Not another business trip? Aren't you having to travel a whole lot for work recently? You already went on another work trip just the other week, right? It's honestly just weird that you're having to travel so much all of a sudden for your job.
Well, it's work, so it can't be helped, Ruth. When duty calls, I have to answer. Unlike your boring office admin work where you sit on the same chair at the same office, surrounded by the same people and doing the same repetitive tasks all day. I'm a sales guy. You should already know that about what I do. It's exciting work where I get to travel and meet lots of people, doing something fresh and new all the time. And I don't mean to brag, but I'm consistently hitting the highest sales number in the whole team. So they expect great things of me in this company. But it does mean I do have to work very hard to live up to those standards. Such is the tortured life of someone as brilliantly talented at sales as me.
Come on now. You don't have to put my work down like that to make your own career sound so good. I get it. You're always bragging about how much of a star you are in your sales team. Anyway, what you're saying is, our anniversary is an insignificant little affair compared to your grand sales business trips. I will give the restaurant a call and cancel the reservation for you, seeing as you are too busy making your company drown in money. But it's as you say. It can't be helped if it's work, and they really need you out there, I guess.
I'm glad you understand where I was coming from so quickly, honey. That would help if you could cancel the reservation for me. Thanks.
In that case, can I re-reserve at exactly the same restaurant a week after our actual anniversary date? It shouldn't be too bad if it's only 1 week later than the real day itself. It would be a shame to miss an opportunity to go there. With you so busy all the time with work, we might not have our schedules aligned to go there. I want to try the escargot at some point.
Oh, you want to reschedule just 1 week after the original date we planned for the anniversary?
Oh, is there some kind of problem with doing that? You should be back home from your work trip well before then, shouldn't you?
Actually, this conference event won't be all that quick. I didn't mention this part until now, but they are going to be sending me abroad this time, so I'll be away for a while. I guess they want to get their money's worth for sending us over there.
Wow, you're actually being sent overseas for this? I'm really impressed, but also surprised that they're making you go somewhere so far away, Alf. But you've never set foot outside the country in your life for even vacations, let alone for business.
I know, right? It is hard to believe that my first time abroad is going to be for business instead of pleasure. It's a pretty darn long trip, too. 8 days and 7 nights. In fact, the entire thing will go on for longer than a whole week, even. Talk about throwing me in the deep end for my first time outside of the country.
They're seriously going to keep you out there for that long?
But there is nothing we can do now because it's been decided, signed, and sealed. We can't go back on our decision now, whether we like it or not. It's a sign that they need me really badly to pull the whole team along. So there is no need to change the reservation for that French place to another time. If you could just cancel it altogether, that would work just great, actually.
But then, what should we do to celebrate our anniversary together this year, Alf? We've been at least doing something to celebrate without fail every year since we got together all that time ago. We wouldn't want to break our important tradition now, would we?
Meh, I think there's no need for us to celebrate such a thing yet another year, Ruth. It's not as if we're newlyweds still in the honeymoon phase who can't stay away from each other. Things are starting to cool off a little with how long we've been together, you know? And isn't it embarrassing to take something like our wedding anniversary so seriously, even at our age? I think it's more a younger people's thing. Not really for us when we're both getting on these days.
Not really, though? Married couples can keep celebrating their anniversaries well into their senior years. If anything, that sort of thing is the norm, not the exception here. I'm the same. I want to keep celebrating the day of our getting together until we've both grown old and we eventually pass from this world. I've never thought of or even heard such a concept of getting too old for wedding anniversaries in my life. Even though I'm so experienced and wise from getting on, according to you.
Oh no, I don't have the energy for that anymore at this age. Just how many years do you think we've been married? It's like Christmas or your birthday. It loses its excitement and meaning after so many repetitions of celebrating the same thing. Anyway, I've been thinking, actually. Sure, we have been together for a long while now. But it's not as if every day is spectacular and filled with excitement. If anything, our relationship has become a business-like chore punctuated by mundanity and repetition. So my point is that it's a waste of money to celebrate such a marriage every year.
Ouch. That's really how you thought about how things were between us? For how long have you been feeling this way, exactly? I, for one, have always thought that our wedding anniversaries are so important to us. They are a great way to remember how we felt when we started out the relationship. Those dizzying feelings of budding love. We should both use the opportunity to cherish and appreciate the successful and happy marriage we have had so far, as well as look forward to and hope for the same sort of life for the future.
Oh, hey now. I think you're looking at this anniversary thing the wrong way. You shouldn't be saving your gratitude for only one day of the year. It should be an ongoing everyday thing. Especially with how lucky you are that I, of all people, am continuing to stay with someone like you.
Excuse me? What do you mean by someone like me? Why don't you try to explain yourself and your extremely rude remarks?
Well, along with every year that passes, a layer of your makeup seems to be gone, to the point that you barely wear any these days. Your figure is gradually getting less and less appealing, too. It's safe to say that you have been going downhill for years now, and that you still continue to. Current projections would indicate that you will likely look like a retired granny in a care home within the next 5 years or so. So, yeah, you should show a little gratitude that I still continue to stay with you. But as the great breadwinner with a highly accomplished career, I don't feel that I need to show you the same appreciation for you staying with me. You might even say that I have grown out of your league throughout the years of our marriage, to put it very bluntly.
Hey, Alf. You might be my husband, but you better watch that mouth of yours. I do have feelings, believe it or not. It's not as if you're not getting older too, you know. You're not the same young and dashing Alf that I met all those years ago either. It's the height of hypocrisy to criticize me for the same thing like that. Don't you think so?
Look at you getting all annoyed by me just pointing out the truth to you. The truth hurts, doesn't it? Doesn't that prove my point that you are getting old and past your prime? I remember the good old days when you were a youthful and agreeable wife that I could be proud of. Those were the days.
Well, excuse you. What did you just say to me?
Anyway, I better be getting back to work now. I will leave you to cancel the restaurant reservation then. So, it's decided then, I guess. There will be no more wedding anniversary celebrations from this year onwards, seeing as they're a waste of time and money.
Hey there, Bjorn. Sorry to shoot you a message out of the blue like this, but it's urgent, and I thought this would be the quickest way to solve this issue. Do you know what the time is of the flight my husband is getting on today? If you have the flight number too, that would be really helpful right now.
Oh, hi, Ruth. Well, I owe your husband a lot for teaching me and helping me out on the job, so I'm always happy to help him or you.
Oh, not at all. I think my husband just likes to have a younger sales member to boss around.
Let me try get those details for you. You seem to be in a rush, but what do you need the information for?
Great, if you could get me those details for his flight, I might be able to deal with this issue I'm facing here. You'll never guess what Alf left at home on all days of today for his big business trip. Anyway, I have tried calling him directly so many times, but he won't pick up, which is a real problem. I'm thinking I might even drive to the airport myself to deliver it, because he really can't go without it for this trip.
Oh no. Did he leave something so important at home? What bad timing?
Yeah, he really needs it. So I need to get it to him as soon as humanly possible. I am so sorry to rush you like this, Bjorn.
Ah, well, in that case, I can swing by and take it to him. I actually happen to have some business to conduct at our Southwest office today. It's in the same direction as the airport, so I won't even need to go out of my way to stop by the airport. It will be no trouble at all. If anything, this sort of thing is probably covered somewhere in my description, I would guess. I already have the address for you and Alf's house. So I will head over and pick up whatever it is, then make sure your husband gets it before his flight takes off. I should be able to just about make it if I take the highway.
Really? You'll do that for us, Bjorn? Thank you. You're a lifesaver. I'll have to show my gratitude later with a home-baked pie or something like that. I do hope you like apple pie, because we've got a lot of golden delicious apples growing in our yard.
Oh, no, there's no need for you to go so far to pay me back. Like I said, I'm just doing my job, Ruth.
I can't believe Alf would make such a big mistake on his big day. But that's just like him to be so forgetful. I can't believe he would forget his passport for a flight. I mean, isn't that the one thing you double and triple check to make sure you have it with you before you leave for a flight? I wonder how he was planning to get to his destination without the one thing he needs to be able to fly.
Oh, when you say that Alf left something at home, you were talking about his passport, were you?
That's right, his passport. How clumsy it is of him to leave that behind just before his flight for his important business trip. I could die of secondhand embarrassment right now.
I think you're misunderstanding something here, Ruth. With all due respect, aren't you the one who's being clumsy and forgetful here?
I'm the clumsy and forgetful one? Why do you say that?
Your husband doesn't need his passport for this business trip, you know? You didn't really think this one through, did you? It seems you saw the passport still at your house, assumed you left it, then panicked.
I'm sorry, but I'm still confused about what is actually going on here, Bjorn. When you say that Alf doesn't need his passport to take his flight, what exactly do you mean by that?
Oh, maybe you haven't heard the destination that Alf and the conference group are flying to today? But yeah, he won't be needing his passport just for a domestic flight.
Come again now. A domestic flight, you say?
But anyway, I guess that's settled, and there is no forgotten item that needs to be taken to Alf before his flight. What a relief.
Well, Bjorn, what you just told me is quite unexpected. Is now a good time to talk over the phone for you? I just want to ask you some questions about this business trip that Alf is supposed to go on today.
Sure, I have the time, if you can just give me a few minutes first. It's a little bit rowdy where I am right now. Let me change places first where there's less background noise, and hopefully the signal will be stronger too. Hey, Ruth. Are you having chronic separation anxiety from me leaving on a flight or something? You're like a puppy tearing up the furniture in an anxiety-driven rampage just because the owner was gone for all of 15 minutes. What was with that number of missed calls I just got from you? It better be something really important if you tried to call me 30 times, when you knew I was busy traveling for this important business trip.
But why didn't you answer my calls though, Alf? I'd say it's more the opposite. It's scarier that you didn't even respond once after I called you 30 times. What if it really was something important? Or, perish the thought, an actual emergency that I was going through? Huh? You certainly didn't sound very alarmed like a normal husband would be when you texted me back. If anything, you sounded accusatory and blaming of me instead.
Were you paying attention to what I said to you literally 1 or 2 texts ago? Or even remember what day this was for me? If you didn't notice, I was on a flight and I was unavailable for taking calls. I'm so sorry that I wasn't getting signal at above cloud altitude. Not. Besides, when you get on a plane, you make sure your cell phone is turned off. That's just common sense. At the very least, you need to make sure it's on flight mode. So yeah, I think I have a valid excuse for not being able to answer you as soon as you decided that you missed me too much. Or maybe you were just worried about my first flight abroad. Either way, you need to lay off with that number of calls, Ruth.
Oh, really? Your phone's power was off this whole time, was it now? Well, it would seem that you do have signal right at this moment, though. So I take it you have already landed at your destination, then?
Yeah, that's right. I got here all right in one piece. Yay me! Well done on my first flight abroad, and a successful one at that.
Wow, that's so interesting. You really got to your destination abroad so quickly, didn't you? You left in the morning, and it took you just 2 hours to get to where you are, huh? Just in time for lunch in our home time zone. Although I'm not sure if it's the same in your destination country right now.
Yep, it was a pretty short and sweet flight.
You know, you never did mention to me exactly where abroad you were headed. It was all very vague, come to think of it.
Oh yeah, that. I did forget to say to you the actual place I was going to, now that you mention it. It might be outside of the country, but really it's only Quebec City. Canada is practically next door, so it doesn't take long to get there. And it doesn't feel all that foreign when you can get by just fine with English. It was one of those direct flights too, so no changing over or anything annoying like that would slow us down, which was nice.
It took you just 2 hours to get to Quebec City, did it?
So anyway, what was with all those phone calls you blew up my cell with? You never did explain that part. You must need something from me, right? So why don't you spit it out already so I can get on with the rest of my busy workday? We don't just lounge around eating and drinking at these conference trips, believe it or not. We have actual work to do here. Otherwise, they wouldn't have spent all that money flying us all the way over here.
Oh, that? I just wanted to let you know that you left something very, very important at home. Why, it's only something that you would almost definitely need today. But I have to say that I was really surprised when you somehow magically made it to the other side without taking it with you.
Oh no, I left something at home, did I? Is it something that I can get over here in Canada as well? I sure hope so, because otherwise I'm completely out of luck here.
No. You can't exactly buy this thing at the nearest supermarket or anything like that. It's not so simple. So yeah, you left your passport at home, you forgetful klutz. So I wonder how you managed to go on your business trip.
I left what at home, did you say?
So you really managed to get into Canada without your passport, did you? How strange. How curious. Did you enter as an illegal immigrant or something? Did you cross the border in the back of a truck full of other such lawbreakers, maybe? What a strange way to go about arriving at a global conference for a large multinational company. I do hope you will be claiming expenses from your company. For all the money you must have blown on getting your smuggler to get you safely across that legally separated international border. Wow, this is even crazier than what Hollywood would ever come up with for some ridiculous, overly serious thriller movie. Real life truly is stranger than fiction sometimes, after all.
Oh no. No, 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 no! Are you sure I really left my passport at home, Ruth?
Yes, it's right here in my hand. Aren't you embarrassed that I seem to know much better where your passport is than your own self?
Oh, come on. I can't believe this.
So I'll ask you again. Are you really at Quebec City now, as you told me originally? You're seriously trying to tell me it took you all of 2 hours to get somewhere that should take more than 7 hours on a plane? I don't believe that for 1 second, you big liar. I've got the very document you need for you to even get on a flight, so that means you don't have it with you. Even if the customs guys at our home airport somehow fell asleep and let you through without a passport, I have serious doubts that the Canadians let you step foot past their immigration. So it stands to reason that you are still within the country somewhere, even if you did actually hop on a plane. Talk about telling a super obvious and transparent lie, then leaving a huge piece of incriminating evidence. At home with your wife, who you were lying to. Did you really think I would fall for that after you left your passport behind lying around in the open?
No, it's not what it looks like. I can explain. Maybe you don't know this because you have never flown internationally before either, but they are surprisingly forgiving about that stuff if you do happen to forget your passport. I mean, there are other ways you can prove your identity photographically, aren't there? In my case, I used my driver's license, which I thankfully still had on me in my wallet. It would be bad for business if they barred people from flying only for forgetting their passports, wouldn't it? Especially when they have other ID methods to prove who they are anyway. So yeah, I managed to wing it even without that passport that I forgot.
Do you take me for a fool? There is absolutely no way that either our home immigration or Canadian immigration would ever accept crossing the border with such a pathetic excuse as a forgotten passport. They can even bar you from entry when you have the most minor of visa issues, let alone if you forget your passport, you know? And I know this because I have flown to foreign countries more than a few times myself, you know? So I know a thing or two more than you do about how to deal with customs. And what they might deny you entry into the country for, believe it or not.
You've been abroad before? This is news to me, Ruth.
I have been to Canada myself quite a few times for special seminars back in my college days, actually. But anyway, I digress. So, back to the topic at hand here. So just which country are you saying accepted you without a passport? Never mind the fact that they would never even let you leave our country before that in the first place.
Well, you know... Actually... Now that I think about it, maybe this was just a domestic trip.
Oh, really? Suddenly you didn't fly abroad? Domestic where? Which state exactly? Just cut out the bull and give it to me straight, because I know you have been lying to me.
What I meant to say was, it's a little complicated and it's not so easy to explain over a text conversation like this.
Really? Is that so? What a fascinating story you're trying to tell me here. Spit it out now, why don't you? You know, you should be embarrassed of yourself. You don't even have the courage to just admit that you've been lying and tell me the truth. Even though it's so obvious at this point, from the fact that your passport is still at home and you're supposedly in a foreign country. I have to say that I'm disappointed in you, if I'm being perfectly honest, Alf.
Come on. I told you I could explain, didn't I, Ruth? I'm not done explaining just yet. You just need to give me a little bit more time, that's all.
Yeah, you can drop the clown act, because I already know the whole truth, actually. You're in El Paso, Texas, aren't you? The trip abroad my butt. You were flying domestic this whole time, you liar.
Whoa. Slow right down there a minute, Ruth. What makes you so sure that that's the case? Why do you really think I'm in El Paso of all places right at this moment? Isn't that absolutely ridiculous after everything I told you about where I was going?
Yes, it is ridiculous. Which is the whole darn point. That's why I am having to have this pointless conversation with you in the first place.
My point is that I could be in Arizona or Oklahoma for all you know. Why are you saying El Paso and being so sure about that place in particular?
I already called Bjorn and he told me everything about this trip of yours. Who else would it be but him? It's not as if you've introduced me to anyone else in the office.
Seriously? Bjorn spilled all of my secrets?
I texted him in a hurry this morning when I thought you accidentally left your passport that you needed in order to fly. Because he wouldn't assume that after you told me you were going to fly abroad, right? So I was going to get him to deliver the passport to you, because it was an emergency. But then Bjorn just laughed at me. He said there was no need for a passport to fly to El Paso.
Oh no, I did not see this coming.
I asked him a whole lot of questions about everything else to do with this business trip too, seeing as you were acting so suspiciously. You even directly lied to me about where you were headed, after all. But it turned out the conference trip itself is actually real, so you weren't lying about that part. There is that bit of truth to what you told me the other day, at least, I guess. But the El Paso trip is only supposed to be 3 days and 2 nights, not over a week like you said. But you were going to use your vacation days off to take the time off and stay a whole week. Isn't that right?
Oh, I didn't even realize that Bjorn knew all about that part too.
Yeah, that wasn't all that he told me, actually. I still have more to say. You were supposedly going to meet up with your wife after the conference was over, to have some time off with her. Bjorn was saying he was wishing we would have a fantastic time celebrating our anniversary together. But it's real strange that I, as that very wife, haven't heard a single word about this plan, considering it's coming so soon. Even for a surprise vacation, that would be cutting it way too short. If anything, it seems like you're hiding something from me.
Oh, Bjorn, ruining things like that for me. You've got to be kidding me. Why did he have to go reveal literally everything he knew? He couldn't just keep his loud mouth shut this one time.
But yeah, it really was a shock to me, too. Like I said, I didn't have a single clue about this anniversary vacation plan of yours. Because, you know, I was just planning to spend our anniversary at home alone. Without you. And without even any acknowledgement of it being our special day from you. My own husband. But sounds like you've got all your anniversary plans sorted, doesn't it? Even if they might not even involve your own wife. I wonder just who the lucky person is that gets the privilege of having a fabulous several days in El Paso together with you to bask in your presence, huh? She sure must be one lucky lady to have the fortune to stay in the same bed with you for so long.
I swear on my grandmother's grave, Ruth, this is not what it looks like. Please allow me to explain.
You know what, Alf? Maybe it's time that the two of us got a divorce, given everything that's happened.
What do you mean we should divorce so suddenly? We've barely even begun to talk this issue through yet. At least let me explain my side of things before jumping to unsubstantiated conclusions.
I have just been lied to by my own husband that I've been absolutely devoted to and loyal to. My once beloved Alf. I fail to see what you are so surprised about here, honestly. What else would you expect me or anyone else to do in this situation except try to divorce your shady, lying butt? That's not the only ammunition I have on you either, just so you are aware. I have looked all over that study of yours in every nook and cranny to see if I could confirm my rapidly growing suspicions and, well, that room you claimed for yourself is absolutely full of signs of there being another woman in your life.
Whoa, wait a minute there. Really? Are you seriously telling me that you went into my study, Ruth? We had an agreement that you wouldn't go in there because I would keep the room tidy by myself. What kind of wife are you to break that trust and go barging into my private space?
Oh, are you really going to go there now? After what you did? And what kind of husband are you to go sneaking off to who knows where to go enjoy some cheating vacation with another woman? You can't expect me to stick to such a rule about your study after what you did to betray my trust. It was an emergency situation that you brought upon yourself, so I needed to get in that room and take a look. So you have to put on your big boy pants and deal with the trouble that you sowed by your darn self. Alf, have you met this friend of mine?
What friend are you talking about here? I don't know what you mean.
Alf, meet the consequences of your own stupid actions. Consequences of your own stupid actions? Meet Alf.
All right, I get it. You can stop now.
Anyway, while you're frolicking around with this mystery affair partner of yours in El Paso, I will make sure to investigate exactly what you've been doing with who, and what you've been doing up to this point, too. So have a good conference trip with your co-workers down there.
No, that's not fair. Stop prodding around my room. All that stuff in there is not yours to touch, Ruth. Hi there, Ruth. I heard something terrible, but I just wanted to confirm with you whether or not it's true. Are you really getting divorced from Alf because of me? If that's really how it is, I'm so sorry. I had no idea at all that this is what would happen. This wasn't my intention in the slightest.
Oh, really, Bjorn? That's what you heard? I think I can take a wild guess who it was that framed it in that way to you. It was Alf, wasn't it?
Well, Alf just gave me a phone call not long ago, and he is saying that his wife is accusing him of having an affair under the cover of a work trip. All because I explained the whole thing so confusingly to you. He says he will take me to court and sue me for putting this misunderstanding between the two of you, which is causing this huge rift.
Really? Alf said all those unbelievable things to you? The nerve of him to threaten you like that, after only telling me the truth. This is his screw-up, not yours.
Anyway, I just wanted to apologize to you for saying something that would cause you so much stress. If I am completely honest, I'm not sure exactly what kind of misunderstanding I have caused here, but I'm sorry, whatever the case. I wasn't trying to ruin your marriage, I swear. I was just trying to help Alf so he wouldn't leave anything important behind for his important conference trip. So please, I'm begging you to forgive me, and especially your husband. Maybe you could rethink your divorce with him, if the damage isn't too deep and it's not too late.
Bjorn, please calm yourself down. Really, this isn't your fault in the slightest, so there is absolutely no need for you to be the one apologizing to me here. It's fine. You can ignore whatever vitriol that lying, manipulative scum of a husband throws your way. You have done nothing at all wrong here, Bjorn. If anything, you have done me a huge favor here with revealing the truth to me.
But I still feel bad that this blew up to the point of you demanding a divorce from him. It's because I confused you about the conference trip and made you think that he had a mistress, isn't it?
Actually, you didn't confuse me at all. Just enlightened me to the real truth. Alf really is having an affair trip. It wasn't just a miscommunication. After the work trip was over, he was taking time off to go spend time with some other woman instead of me in El Paso.
Really? Alf was actually going to do something so horrible?
Well, he was bold enough to lie to me that he was going to be away for a whole week for some work trip abroad. Looking back on it now, I didn't notice the red flag that he didn't specify where exactly abroad. But he was going to be off holding all his important work meetings. I believed him, of course. Who wouldn't when they have no reason at all to doubt their partner when you think they love you just as much as you love them? But in reality, he had quite some other plans for what he was going to do after his actual work conference in El Paso. Needless to say that all this was super suspicious, so I went and checked his private study that I'm normally not allowed in. And well, it was just chock full of evidence of this horrid affair of my husband's with another woman.
Oh, seriously? I can't believe Alf of all people would do something like that to you.
So that's why I'm the one who should be apologizing to you, Bjorn. I'm so sorry to you on behalf of my vindictive, petty, sorry excuse of a husband who chewed you out for all of this. He has no right to be taking out his anger for all this out on you when you've done nothing wrong. Especially when all this mess is his own doing in the first place.
No, not at all. You don't need to apologize to me for something that you weren't responsible for, Ruth. I understand the stickiness of the situation and, well, that stickiness can sometimes spread to others nearby, unfortunately. Not to mention that emotions are running high in this complicated situation. But it's just life. Sometimes these things happen. I'm not mad at you or anything at all, so don't worry. Please.
Well, that's very understanding and kind of you to say so. But, well, if it isn't too much trouble, I have a favor to ask of you, Bjorn. I'm sorry to drag you into this whole clown circus again, but only you can help me here. It sounds cliché, but I'm afraid it's true. I really could do with your support for this.
Me? Help you after what just went down?
I just want to check Alf's recorded office hours, that's all. It's just that now that the genie's out of the bottle, I'm suspicious about a whole lot of other stuff now, too. It might be wishful thinking at this point, but maybe, just maybe. What if Alf has been lying about a bunch of other times he has said he's been working late at night or having to travel far and stay over for work? So I want to make sure that he really has been working hard for all those hours like he has claimed to me over and over. That little rascal sure does seem to know how to lie through his teeth. So that's why it would be a ton of help if you could just check that for me.
I get it. That seems like a logical place to start looking into for now. Sure, you can leave it all to me. I can send you his recorded office hours from our shared database. No problem.
Really, Bjorn? You'll do that for me? Are you sure that you really want to do this?
Well, I'd be lying if I said that this wasn't personal for me, too. You see, my parents are divorced, too. All because of my father's intimate, long-term affair that hid and festered for years. Until it completely soured my mother and father's relationship forever. So that's why I can't stand people who lie and cheat on their partners. I can't just stand by and watch while people like that get away with it when I can put a stop to it. That's all the more true when it's between a couple that I know personally.
Really? I had no idea that you would be so personally interested in helping out. But that's great. Thank you.
But I just have one request for you, Ruth. Can we just keep it between the two of us that I actually helped you out with this? The cat's out of the bag already with the business trip part that I told you, but I don't want Alf to know about my involvement in this, too. I know it's embarrassing after I made such a grandiose speech about wanting cheaters to be caught and get their just desserts. But I really don't want him yelling curse words through the phone at me again. I think I've already had more than enough of that, if I'm honest.
Of course that's a given, Bjorn. I won't say a peep about any of this to my jerk husband. Welp, I'll be waiting for Alf's office hour data that you're going to be sending to me later.
Of course, Ruth. I'll get it to you as soon as I can. Come on, Ruth. I'm begging you, please. I just want you to let me into our house. That's all.
Oh, Alf, that's weird. You're back already? But I thought my hard-working, high-performing husband was away in El Paso for a whole week. But it's only been 3 days still.
I came straight home after the conference ended, and I got all the business out of the way. I left the other woman. I swear on my mother's life. I'm sorry I betrayed your trust, but I've properly separated with her now, so it's all okay. So look, I just want to get back home. To you. Let's just sit down and talk all this through, like adults. I can explain this all to you. Everything. The whole truth.
Well, I'll ignore the part where you essentially threw your own mother under the bus. In a pathetic and pointless attempt to save your lying butt from the trouble you yourself caused. So which woman was it that you parted ways with? You poor thing. Was it Joe who you ditched? Or maybe you got tired of Ellie? Don't tell me you cut Tabitha out of your life.
What? You know about all of them?
I don't know why you're so surprised that I know all of their names. That's basically a given. I told you quite clearly that I went through every square inch of that private little room of yours with a fine-toothed comb. I had no idea that you were having not just one, but so many affairs, all with different women. Every time the evidence came surfacing, I had to run to the bathroom to vomit out all my disgust for you.
No way. That's so quick. You already found so much proof in such a short time.
So, which unlucky little sweetheart of yours did you break up with this time, huh? And tell me, which one of your favorite delicious side pieces are still part of the eat-all-you-want side dishes on your dining plate? Because leaving just one of your happy little harem doesn't quite cut it, really, does it? Did you really expect I would let you off and welcome you back with open arms after such a half-hearted effort to worm your way back into our relationship as if nothing happened?
Look, I'll go jump the whole lot of them right now. So please, just open the door and let's talk this through. I don't want us to divorce, so let's hash things out before we go rushing emotionally to actions that we might regret later.
But Alf, you always made me feel like dirt for getting older and less attractive every year, as I put on the years and the pounds. So maybe it's for the best for both of us if we just separate, seeing as I'm not exactly the youthful and alluring babe you married all those years ago anymore, according to your own words.
Oh man, I didn't think you would take my jokes to heart like that. Come on, Ruth. I was just teasing you a little for fun, that's all. I didn't think for a second that we actually would be divorcing. I had no intention of hurting you, or for it to come to the absolute worst case scenario like this. I'm down on my knees pleading with you, Ruth. I'm begging you. Please just open the door and let me inside the house.
I'm so sorry, Alf, but that's not happening. I can't be opening the door for you anymore, unfortunately for you.
Come on. I just want you to believe me for once in your life.
Well, that's just the thing, Alf. Even if I wanted to open the door, which I most certainly do not want to do, I can't. I've already canceled the lease on that house, as it happens.
Why did you cancel the lease on the house?
I admit it. I was going to take my time, maybe a whole week, rummaging through all the filthy evidence you left behind. In that private little room of yours. But it turned out that all that sleuthing only took a few hours, so I didn't need all that time after all. So it worked out for the best in the end, I guess. And that's why I just went ahead with moving out of the place. I just went and put my plan in motion.
And just what would that plan be exactly, Ruth?
The divorce plans, of course. What else would I be talking about? A little slow on the uptake, aren't you? But yeah, I already decided that I would be ending the lease on that house if we were to get divorced. So there was no decision-making to do in the end. Just act on the plan I already made.
This can't be for real. Where am I going to go live now? Do you expect me to just go sleep under a bridge? Why don't you tell me where you are and I can go crash with you? We can hash things out while we're at it.
I'm going to ignore that ridiculous idea you just suggested. But for your information, I didn't get rid of your belongings or take them with me. I didn't want to lose my lunch every time I looked at all those letters with your many girlfriends after all. So I shipped all your stuff to your parents' place. Just so you know, I am with my parents. So you might want to hold off on coming to crash with me for now anyway. So back to the exciting and fascinating topic of our divorce. Let's get both of our parents together for a family meeting on that topic. Can I pencil it in for Monday morning next week?
Whoa there. You're making my head spin with how fast you're trying to move things along here. First of all, I didn't agree to any divorce here. And secondly, how could you end the lease and move out without even consulting me, your husband, first? It just doesn't add up. How could you pull that little trick off?
Oh, but that house was being rented under my name, not yours. Or did you forget that part? I guess I shouldn't be too harsh on you, seeing as you had to remember a whole lot of info. A bunch of birthdays, anniversaries, life stories, boring small talk from a whole harem of women. You didn't really have time or energy to remember the minutiae of whose name we used for what in just one household of many, did you now? Way back when I actually had a job, my company had benefits on rent, right? So it would work out cheaper for renting if we went with me as the named tenant, remember? That is exactly why I had no need whatsoever to ask for your permission in ending the lease.
Are you being serious right now? Are you really calling that a valid excuse? Just how many years do you think we have been married together and living under the same roof? That very house. The house that I've been paying rent on for decades. You just went ahead and decided on your own to move us both out of there. Just like that.
The weirder thing to do would be to share a house with a good-for-nothing, cheating, lying, oxygen thief like you. You don't have a single right to complain about anything to me after how you treated me.
That's a little harsh. I think I should get a say too.
Oh, you're still going to keep whining away, you big baby? The divorce is final, Alf, and that's it. No amount of begging or pleading is going to make me change my mind. A traitor doesn't get to cry traitor at the person he just betrayed. You got caught, so now just accept the consequences of your own foolish, selfish actions.
Come on now, Ruth. Just give me another chance here. Please, can you find it in your heart to forgive me? I promise not to hurt you like that ever again, for the rest of our lives together.
Once trust is broken, it can never be recovered again. Don't you know? That's that. So come ready with a pen and divorce papers to sign when we get together family to family for that little friendly chat together. This time, you better be careful not to leave anything important behind for your trip. After that, as I planned, Alf and I got together with both pairs of parents to discuss the divorce altogether. Alf tried to pull a sob story about how he only started cheating on me from 1 month before that, and how it was all a brief lapse of judgment and a moment of weakness and all that. You know, the typical cliché excuses you hear in a low-budget telenovela or something like that. But thanks to Bjorn's research on Alf's office hours on his timesheets, we had solid proof that all that was far from the actual truth. It turns out that he was having the first of his many affairs from roughly 3 years before. It would be an understatement to say that both mine and Alf's parents were angry at all of his lying to cover up his other lies. Alf's face was practically drenched from all the tears streaming down his face after the good telling off he got from his parents. I guess you're always a child to your mother and father, but it's truer for some than others. From what I heard from Bjorn after, Alf had the gall to fake going on business trips and meals out with clients. But it was all just a guise to fraudulently claim expenses so he could go on lavish dates with his multiple affair partner's sweethearts. Needless to say, that was immediate grounds for a firing, so he had to leave that company in the end. So with Alf's position open, Bjorn got a promotion to replace his post. So I sent him a card and a cake to congratulate him, and to say thanks for helping me out so much. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to see more content. Hey, about my legs. It's quite possible that I'll never walk again. The doctor just told me.
Huh? You mean you're gonna be in a wheelchair for the rest of your life?
Probably. He said there's a high chance my legs will never recover. Of course, I'm gonna work hard at physical therapy, but... Oh, and one more thing. He said I may not be able to have children anymore either.
Wow, I see. Do they know when you'll be released from the hospital?
He said I'll be in here for at least 2 months. Ugh. If only I had been paying more attention to the road, this might not have happened. And I heard the driver of the other vehicle died. I'm filled with all this sadness and anger at the same time, and there's nothing I can do about it. I feel bad for the other driver's family, but when I look at my legs...
I can imagine what you must be going through. But you survived the crash, so I'm happy.
Thanks.
I've been thinking about something. How about you and I move into that big house your dad left to you when he died? There's lots of rooms for a wheelchair. If we do some renovations, we can make the house wheelchair friendly. It'll be perfect for us to live in.
I told you that we can't live in that house. It was a stipulation in my dad's will. He didn't want me to ever live there. He just wanted me to maintain the place. You mentioned this before, and I told you living there isn't an option. You and I can look for a new house if you want, but we'll have to wait till I get out of the hospital.
Huh? After getting a house given to you for free? The location is great, and the place is huge. Why do we have to live in this tiny apartment when you have a big, beautiful house just sitting there? I've always wanted to live in a house like that. Let's at least try it for a little while.
We can't. Just forget about that house, okay? I don't want to talk about this again right now. I have to focus 100% on my rehabilitation. Let's consider the possibility of moving after I get out of the hospital. Hey, Caleb! Mrs. Smith just messaged me and asked if we had moved. What's going on?
Oh, has news already reached you?
What do you mean, has news reached me? Don't tell me you moved into that house!
Well, to tell the truth, yes. We'd be crazy not to. You've got a house with no rent and it's already paid for. We'd be crazy not to move into it.
I told you that's not a house we can live in. I thought I hid the keys. Did you go snooping around our apartment to find them?
Yeah, it took quite a while too. But I found them tucked away at the back of one of the drawers. I can't believe you put that much thought into trying to hide them from me.
I tried to hide them from you so something like this wouldn't happen. Please, you've got to get out of there.
Why are you saying it like it's an emergency or something? This place has got a nice backyard and the living room is huge. It'd be a crime to waste a place like this.
Caleb, please. You can't stay in that house. If you've already moved out of the apartment, I guess there's not much we can do, but just take some things to go stay at your mom's house, okay?
I can't. My mom's moving here with us.
What? What are you talking about?
My mom's living here too. I felt bad for her. She was gonna be living in that tiny place while her son's living in this giant house. Don't worry. This place is huge. You'll never even notice she's here.
I think I'm just going to call the police. You two are trespassing.
Hey. You don't have to go that far. Why are you being like this? This isn't the woman I married. Why are you acting like this? Wait, don't tell me. You weren't planning on selling this place and keeping all the money for yourself, were you?
What are you talking about?
I didn't know you were so greedy. You already got your dad's inheritance. You're gonna be getting insurance money from this accident. And you were planning on selling this house too? Were you planning on keeping everything for yourself? You know we're married, right? You must have hit your head in that crash too.
What do you mean, keeping everything for myself? Yeah, I got the inheritance from my dad. But instead of spending that money, we invested it for our retirement. And don't think for a second that I ever wanted to have a car accident like this. I'm in a wheelchair. I can't walk anymore. Do you think I wanted this? And I never planned on selling that house anyway. And even if I did, why would you think I'd be keeping the money for myself?
Look, I talked to my mom about everything, and I think I want to divorce you.
Huh?
Well, you told me you likely can't have any kids now, right? You know I like kids. I want to have kids of my own in the future. But I can't do that with you now. That's a justifiable reason to get divorced, don't you think?
Wait, hold on.
I don't know how to say this, especially with everything that's happened to you with the accident, too. But I've put up with enough already, haven't I? I mean, your dad worked in real estate, but he never helped us get a place, did he? He had no trouble with money, yet he never helped us out financially at all. And even you, making us pinch every penny all the time and save any extra money we have at the end of the month. I can't stand it.
Why did you assume my dad would just give us money? Our bills have nothing to do with him. And we were getting by just fine on our own.
See? This is exactly what I'm talking about. There's no reason why we couldn't splurge a little more every month. All you ever wanted to do was to get by.
What do you mean? We had everything we needed. What else did you want us to spend our money on each month? Ever since my dad died, you've been talking about money a lot.
I'm the type of guy who likes to go out a lot and have nice things. So, when I divorce you, I want this house. You can't live here anyway, so you don't have a problem with that, right?
Huh?
I want this place. It's like my dream home. It's huge. And I've already moved in, so don't say huh to me. You should be congratulating me on moving into my new house. Even my mom thinks this house is amazing. There's a bedroom at the other end of the house she's gonna use. She won't even be in the way. This place has an upstairs and a fully renovated basement. That's 3 whole floors. A person in a wheelchair like you doesn't need a house with so many stairs.
Whatever. There's something I feel I should tell you, even though part of me doesn't want to anymore. That was my dad's house, but I've never lived there.
What? You've never lived here? Why not? Didn't you grow up here? You're kidding, right?
No. My dad bought that house, but he never lived there either.
What are you talking about? This place was kept really clean. And this place was fully furnished. That's why I sold most of the furniture we had before I moved.
We maintained it and made sure it got cleaned every few months. But no one in my family ever lived there. Do you want to know why? We had a sidekick come in and they advised us never to live there. They said the place is cursed. That place has a dark history. A guy killed a bunch of people in that house.
Are you serious? People were killed in here?
Yeah.
Shut up. You think I'm gonna fall for something like that? Lol. This place is spotless. Nothing bad ever happened here. And I haven't felt uncomfortable here or anything.
The whole place was remodeled in an attempt to get it sold. Check online if you don't believe me. That address is famous.
Oh, it is here. I see the story about the incident. But so what? Just because people lost their lives here doesn't mean no one can live here anymore. Right? Of course that's right.
Usually, that would be right. But that house is different. When my dad first told me about that place, I didn't believe him either. But everyone who has ever lived in that house has either gone crazy or started to go crazy. What you need to know about that house isn't just the murders. It wasn't after the murders that strange things started happening. It was long before that. The guy who killed those people in that house. It wasn't a home invasion or anything like that. The guy who killed those people lived there. It was his house. People said when he moved in, he was the nicest guy ever. But his demeanor started to change as the weeks went by. Then one night, he invited some friends over for a party. Everyone was drinking, and he told them they could spend the night. And then, while they were sleeping, well, you can read about it. It's no secret. People say he was driven crazy by the curse on the house. Nobody would buy the house after that. It was on the market for so long. My dad wasn't rich. He bought that house because it was dirt cheap, and he didn't believe in the curse. He thought he could sell it for a lot of money if he held onto it long enough that people forgot. My dad remodeled the house, but couldn't get anyone to buy it. He even tried renting it out, but nobody stayed more than a month or two. That's when he decided to have a psychic come in. They told him there was something evil there, and to never move into the house himself. We kept it maintained, hoping we could do something with it someday. But my dad died before we could figure out what to do with it.
Well, then, what the heck am I supposed to do?
Well, you could start by believing me.
I find what you're saying pretty hard to believe. Curses don't exist. There's nothing evil living here. You make it sound like the plot of a book or something. But this is real life, so there's no way. You're just trying to scare me.
Caleb, you've always hated scary stories, haven't you? That's why I never told you before.
I don't know if I buy this. According to this website, that incident took place more than 20 years ago. I'm not going to let anything like that bother me. There must be something wrong with you if you believe in curses, psychics, and all that mumbo-jumbo. Why would you go in and clean the place all the time if you believed what the psychic said? I think there's something wrong with your head.
Oh, is that so? Well, as long as I can get rid of that house, I don't care what you think. If you want it, you can have it. There, it's settled. I'll give you the house and your divorce. That's everything you want, isn't it?
Yeah. If there turns out to be anything wrong with this house, I can always just sell it. I'm glad you're such an understanding wife. I'm looking forward to the start of my new life. And I wish you the best of luck on yours, too. Jenny. Please, message me back. My mom's acting really strange. Jenny, please! Jenny! Are you there?
I thought I told you not to message me anymore. I know the day I signed the divorce papers, you brought a new woman into your house to live with you. And I don't mean your mom. You were cheating on me while we were married, weren't you? I can't believe you. You're horrible.
No, that's not true. I just happened to meet her the day we got divorced.
Regardless, I don't want to talk to you. That's why I blocked your number the first time, and I'll do it again. So don't bother buying yet another new cell phone and contacting me with that number either. I'll call the cops if you do.
Don't do that. I had no choice. You blocked me, and I had to talk to you.
Just be thankful that's all I did.
Look, I'm really sorry. I apologize for everything I've done so far. I'll do anything. I'll even pay you alimony or whatever if you want me to. So, please, help me. Everything's happening just like you said it would.
Handle it yourself. Curses don't exist, remember? You're not going to let anything like that bother you.
That's what I thought, but that house isn't right. There's something wrong with it.
Isn't that what I told you in the first place? That place is evil. But you decided to live there anyway, didn't you?
I've already left that place. My girlfriend left too. She said my mom was way too creepy.
Wait, so you left your mom alone in that house?
For a few days now.
You really are a horrible person, aren't you? Then again, the last time I saw her, she called me a useless sack of crap because I can't walk and I'm infertile. So I probably shouldn't care what happens to her.
Please, Jenny, I'll do anything. Tell me what I should do. I've already hired a couple people I found online who said they could bless the place and remove the curse. But they both charged me so much money, and nothing they did had any effect.
That's because most people advertising that kind of service online are frauds.
Then tell me who I should get. And I can't even find any real estate agency willing to list this place. I have no idea what's going to happen.
Properties like that are famous amongst the real estate agencies in the city. That's why my dad held on to the place for so long. He couldn't do anything with it. He was great at what he did, but even he couldn't get anyone to buy that place from him. Yet, you decided to live there, so you better take good care of it.
Jenny, please. If we don't do anything about this, I think something's gonna happen to me next. You know, don't you? You've probably heard all the stories of what happened to the different people living there. Do you not see that I'm begging you for help? Why won't you do anything? There's gotta be something wrong with you.
Yeah, you're right. There's gotta be something wrong with me. What can I say? I guess I'm just that kind of woman, huh?
Jenny, I'm begging you. Do something! Jenny!
I've just got one thing to say to you. Congratulations on your new house! You got everything you wanted from me. After that, Caleb's mom's mental state got progressively worse. I even heard from a mutual friend that she was eventually admitted to a mental hospital. I'm not related to her anymore, so I can't say I really care too much about it. It did make me a little scared, so I went and found Caleb to talk to him. When I say scared, I mean I was scared that he might actually find a buyer for the house. I didn't want anything bad happening to anyone else. Also, at that time, it was just a rumor that she was admitted to a mental hospital, so I wanted to find out for sure. When I spoke to Caleb and he confirmed that it was true. I convinced Caleb not to sell the house and to just keep it, even though he wouldn't be living there. That was also the day I signed the house over to him and had it put in his name. I had to do that because it was part of our divorce agreement. The house would be his. He agreed to keep the place clean and maintained because he was worried that if he didn't, the curse may follow him. In the meantime, he would search around for a legitimate person who could maybe break the curse. If such a person even exists. However, I heard shortly after that his new girlfriend left him and that he had been missing a lot of work because of it. I guess he was really upset by it. It sounded like he was going to get fired from his job soon because of it. When I asked him about it, he told me that it was the house's curse and that it had latched onto him even though he wasn't living there anymore. Personally, I think those things were all caused by his own actions. I never thought my dad's final wish would turn out like this. But then again, I got to find out what Caleb was really like and what he really cared about. And getting a person like that out of my life was the best thing for me. Without him around, I was able to focus on my physical therapy and get my life back on track. In fact, just the other day, my doctor asked me out on a date. As the saying goes, when one door closes, another opens. One other shocking, or maybe supernatural, thing happened too. The day after I had that house put into Caleb's name instead of mine, I started to get some feeling back in my legs. When I first had the accident, the doctors thought I may never walk again. Now they're convinced I'll be able to make a full recovery. I'm sure this is all just a big coincidence. But then again... Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please press the like button. See you next time!